A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. This one I'm pretty actually excited for because this is a book that I read in high school, loved it, read it again in university, still loved it, and figured I would go back and reread it just to see if my perceptions of it had changed at all. Of course, I'm talking about Dune by Frank Herbert. It's going to be impossible to talk about this book without spoilers. It's also going to be impossible to talk about this book without referring to the films and to a lesser extent the television miniseries. So just keep that in mind as we go into another episode of So for those of you that have no idea what this book is about, it is pretty much a kind of space opera-ish political intrigue, kind of a sci-fi tale about the planet Dune, otherwise known as Arrakis. The novel begins with the House Atreides being given control of Arrakis after the Emperor has decreed that the Harkonnens, a rival house, are to vacate the planet. The Harkonnens have been controlling Dune for about 80 years. And Dune is where the spice is produced, and the spice is actually what the Spaces Guild needs to kind of do interstellar travel. On top of this, you've got layers of political intrigue. You've got the Bene Gesserit witches, so to speak. You have the rivalry between the Atreides and the Harkonnens. You have the inhabitants of the planet Arrakis, the Fremen, and what they're up to. And it's kind of layer upon layer upon layer. The book is split up into three parts. The opening of this book is pretty much what you see in the latest incarnation of the film, with the Atreides moving to Arrakis and the subsequent betrayal of the house by the Harkonnens and by the Emperor himself. Really interesting, big differences. As I said, I can't really talk about this book without talking about the film, and the film really just scrapes the surface. If you love the film, you are going to love the book. Vice versa, if you love the book, you're also going to love the film, but the book does delve deeper into the political aspect of everything, and that is something that I really do appreciate about this novel. Unfortunately, it's not all wine and roses. The second part of the book drags a little bit, and that's no fault of the author itself. It's no fault of the story. It's just bound to happen when you are writing such a long science fiction story and you're trying to kind of set everything up. However, it is the ending of this book that really shines, especially now that I'm reading this with new eyes. An absolutely fantastic ending that does actually set up the next 5 books in the series, although if you count the books that were written by Frank Herbert's son and Kevin J. Anderson after his death, Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune, then it really is an 8-book series. These 2 books were written with notes, the notes from Frank Herbert that he kind of had planned out anyway. So kind of just keep that in mind. Do not read this as a standalone novel. It deserves to be read as the first book in a series. So with that said, there is a lot that I could say about this book, about the character interactions. You have Paul Atreides, the son of Duke Leto, who, as the novel progresses, finds out that he is destined to be a prophet of the Fremen people. Really interesting idea. I like how it's executed. It is not disrespectful to any religions. And that's ultimately one of the worries of Dune, is that it does delve deeply into religious themes, which might turn a few people off, but it is actually done very, very respectfully overall. You have Paul's mother, Jessica, who is a Bene Gesserit witch, and ultimately goes on to become a Reverend Mother of the Fremen people. You have all of the kind of side characters, which in the Atreides house, a lot of them, again, spoilers, but I can't not talk about this. A lot of them do die off, but the ones that remain, I really like the layers to these characters, to the Mentat, to the smuggler. There is a lot more Harkonnen, an angle to the House Harkonnens, or Harkonnen, as they say in the new movie. I don't like that pronunciation. In this book, which is really cool, actually. And I really hope that in the sequel they do explore that a lot more. The sequel to the film, of course. The sequel to this book is, in fact, somewhere around here. And I can't. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. Is Dune Messiah. This is book 2, which I will, of course, get around to reading. You have the sandworms in this, which a lot of people wrongly assume is like the main point of the book. You have these giant sandworms that in the film is this great kind of set piece. They're really a side note to the politics, and that's what you're really getting into when you're reading this book. You're getting into the politics of the houses of the emperor. You're getting into the kind of backstabbing nature of it. There is one character in the books that is not even touched upon in the films. I can't speak for the David Lynch version. It's been a long time since I saw that. But you have this character called Count Fenring, who is really, really interesting. He's not in it for very long, but he does make an impact to the story. All in all, this is really worth your time to pick up and read, purely because of the sheer audacity of Frank Herbert to create and throw the reader into a science fiction epic that, when you start this book, you have no idea how twisted the political aspect of the story is going to be. You have no idea how the world is going to work, or in this case, the universe, I should say. And he brings it all together without bogging the story down in grand scale battle sequences, which, when you look at book series like, off the top of my head, Game of Thrones, where the battles are so important. They are important in this story too, but there isn't the need to write a blow-by-blow description of each battle. There is a major battle at the end of the book, which is hinted at the end of one chapter, and then when we start the next chapter, you get the outcome of the battle. And it works. It really does work, where the focus is on what is important, not necessarily what people would find, at least in this day and age, entertaining. And that is not a flaw of the book in any way, shape, or form. This is an IP that I am intensely interested in, more so now as an adult, where I'm reading this book with a new appreciation for exactly what Frank Herbert set out to do with his series, and what his son and Kevin J. Anderson, is that right? Yes, Kevin J. Anderson, set out to do by actually expanding the Dune universe with prequel books, sequel books, all of that kind of a thing. So as I said, this is well worth your time. If you don't want to read the book, at least go out and check the movies. The David Lynch version is just a spectacle of the eyes. The new version is fantastic as well, although it does gloss over a lot of what you would get if you were reading the novel. And again, I'm not saying that in a negative way at all. These are things that you need to experience for yourself. Frank Herbert's Dune, I will be making more videos as I continue reading the book series, and then ultimately I want to do an overview of the book series as a whole. The original series, of course, the first 6 books, I might include Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune on top of that, if I get time. Frank Herbert's Dune, I give it 5 sandworms out of 5. If you enjoyed this video, which I understand is not Final Girl, which seems to be getting a lot of views on the channel, but either way, you know, if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, follow us on Facebook, follow us on plaguelandsmedia.com, and you can check out our stuff in the Amazon ebook Kindle kind of website. So hope you enjoyed the video. This is short. There's a lot I could say, but I really think you need to read this book for yourself. Frank Herbert's Dune. Stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your week.